Anya Lore stood inside the great silver hall of the Velith Empire, her long cloak touching the crystal floor. She was a princess, trained since childhood to speak with power and move with grace. But today, her hands were shaking. Today, she would marry a human. She never expected her life to move in this direction. The Velith Empire had fought humans many times. Humans were smaller, slower, and physically weak compared to her people. Many Velith leaders joked that a human could be defeated by a simple push. But humans had something the Empire never understood: fully willpower. They refused to surrender even when the enemy was stronger. That stubborn bravery had stopped the Empire in many battles. Now the war between the species was ending. Both sides had lost too much. Peace was needed. And the strongest way to create peace was through a marriage bond between leaders. Anya had been chosen. She felt honored. She also felt trapped. As she waited, her mind wandered to the stories she had heard about her future husband, Captain Marcus Hale, a human soldier who had fought in the final battle of the war. Reports said he saved 200 civilians when the colony station collapsed. He carried wounded people on his back, even after his own leg was injured. He fought until his armor was broken, and smoke filled the air around him. Anya wondered what kind of man chose to fight like that. She wondered what kind of man she would be sharing her life with. The ceremony began. Marcus stepped forward into the hall. He looked different from the Velith, taller than most humans, but still smaller than the warriors who guarded her palace. His dark hair was tied back neatly. His uniform was simple, not decorated as Velith warriors decorated their battlesuits. Humans always seemed to value usefulness over show. Marcus bowed before her with respect. "I am honored to meet you, Princess Anya," he said in a calm and steady voice. Anya studied him carefully. His face was serious but warm. He did not look nervous. His eyes held no fear, only honesty. She had expected arrogance or pride. Humans often tried to act brave in front of the Empire, but Marcus was different. His presence felt steady, like a quiet mountain. The marriage vows were simple. They promised cooperation, unity, and peace. Marcus spoke his lines slowly, making sure to pronounce her language correctly. When he finished, the hall filled with soft blue lights, signs of approval from the Empire's ancient symbols. Anya and Marcus were now bonded. A few hours later, she traveled with him to Earth's capital. It was her first time visiting the human world. The atmosphere smelled different, more natural. Without the heavy metallic scent of Velith cities, human buildings were shorter and less perfect. They did not shine like crystal towers. Instead, they carried history and warmth. Marcus walked beside her as they entered the government center where she would live. "If there is anything you need," he said gently, "please tell me. This place might feel strange to you." Anya nodded but did not speak. She was still unsure how to behave around him. He did not act like a soldier who wanted glory. He did not act like a man who now had a princess as his wife. He was simply calm. In the following days, Anya started to learn how humans lived. She watched families walking in parks, children laughing, and people working together with smiles. Humans did not have advanced technology like the Velith, but they had something the Empire had long forgotten: community. Their worlds felt alive, full of small kindnesses. Marcus gave her space but also guided her when she needed help. He taught her human greetings, human customs, and how to understand humor. She found his explanations careful and thoughtful. He always made sure she never felt embarrassed. One evening, as she sat near the window overlooking the city lights, she finally asked, "Do you believe this marriage will truly bring peace?" Marcus did not answer quickly. He sat beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "I believe," he said slowly, "that peace is built by people who try every day to understand each other. Our marriage is a bridge, not a solution. The real peace comes from how we treat each other, not from the treaty document." Anya looked at him, surprised. His answer was simple but wise. Many leaders she knew gave long speeches, filled with complicated words. Marcus spoke clearly, but his words carried more strength than any speech. She started to see him differently, but peace never stayed quiet for long. One morning, alarms echoed through the Earth capital. Soldiers rushed through the halls. Screens showed warning signs. Anya hurried to the command room, and Marcus was already there. Standing among military leaders, his expression had changed. The gentle calm she had grown used to was gone. Now he stood with sharp focus, every movement precise. "We detected unknown Velith drones near our colony moon," a commander said. "They are scanning our defense lines." Anya felt her chest tighten. "Those drones were not sent by my government. Someone is breaking the treaty." Marcus turned toward her. Instead of blaming her, he simply asked, "Do you recognize their design?" She stepped closer to the screen. The drones carried a symbol she knew too well, General Koresh. A Velith leader who believed humans were inferior and peace was a mistake. "He is planning something dangerous," she whispered. "He will not stop. He wants war again." Marcus nodded slowly. He did not act angry. He did not shout. He simply understood. "We will prepare our defenses," he said. "But we will also try to talk before fighting. No one wants another war." Anya expected fear from the human officers, but they looked determined, moving with quick precision. Humans always surprised her. They were smaller than Velith warriors, yet their courage filled the entire room. As Marcus worked with the commanders, Anya watched him carefully. For the first time, she saw the soldier behind the calm man. His movements were efficient, confident. His eyes scanned maps and reports with sharp intelligence. Everyone listened when he spoke. This was not the gentle Marcus who taught her human customs. This was a protector, a man who understood war but hated it enough to fight for peace. When the meeting ended, Marcus approached her quietly. "We will try diplomacy first," he said. "But if General Koresh attacks the colony moon, humans will have to defend it." Anya lowered her head. "My empire will think I betrayed them. Only those who want war will think that," Marcus said calmly. "People who want peace will stand with you." His voice was steady, but she could feel the weight of his words. He was prepared to fight if needed. He was prepared to protect his world and the treaty they had built together. As she walked beside him through the hallway, she felt something unexpected, a sense of safety. Marcus did not speak loudly. He did not show off his strength, but she could feel it. His courage was quiet, but powerful. She realized something important. She had married a human for peace, but she did not fully understand what humans were capable of. She had seen only their gentleness. Soon, she would see the other side. Soon, she would see Marcus fight like a fallen star. The tension in the Earth Command Center grew heavier with each passing hour. The Velith drones continued circling the colony moon like silent shadows. Humans tried to send peaceful signals, but no reply came. Anya knew why. General Koresh never answered peace calls. He believed peace was weakness. He believed humans were too fragile to fight a true war. But Anya had learned enough to understand something Koresh never did. Humans might be physically weaker, but their fighting spirit could move mountains. Marcus spent the next day preparing teams and reviewing defensive plans. His calm voice guided officers, and his presence kept everyone steady. But when he stepped onto the strategy platform, Anya saw something new in him, a spark of fierce determination. That evening, the first attack came. Without warning, Koresh's fleet struck the colony moon with a barrage of plasma fire. The moon's defense shields flickered under the assault. Civilian ships tried to escape but were blocked by enemy fighters. Alarms echoed across Earth. Officers ran to their stations. Anya stood in the command room, her heart pounding. This was no test. This was war. Marcus received the first damage report. His voice stayed steady. "We need to evacuate the civilian sectors immediately. Get rescue shuttles ready." Anya stepped closer. "Let me talk to Koresh. He might listen if he sees a Velith royal." Marcus looked at her with concern. "He won't listen. He doesn't want peace." "Still, we must try," she insisted. Before Marcus could answer, a new alert appeared on the screen. A large portion of the moon's habitat dome had collapsed. Hundreds of people were trapped inside. Marcus turned to the commanders. "Prepare my unit. "We are going in." Anya stared at him. "You're going there? Into the attack zone?" "Yes," he said simply. "We don't leave civilians behind." She expected fear in his voice. There was none, only purpose. He walked toward the hangar, and Anya followed him. The lights inside were flashing red as human soldiers boarded dropships. Marcus checked his gear quickly. Every movement smooth from years of experience. "Why must you go personally?" Anya asked, unable to keep the worry from her voice. "Because I know Koresh's tactics," he replied, "and because my team trusts me. If I ask them to risk their lives, I must be willing to do the same." His words were gentle, but they felt heavy on her heart. Marcus and his squad boarded the ship. Just before the doors closed, he looked at Anya again. Not like a soldier looking at a princess, but like a man who understood her fear. "I'll come back," he said softly. She nodded, though fear tightened her throat. The doors sealed, and the ship launched toward the burning moon. Anya returned to the command room, watching the battle through the holographic feeds. Enemy ships glowed like blue wolves circling their prey. Human fighters moved quickly, dodging and striking back with surprising creativity. Humans lacked advanced weaponry, but they compensated with clever tactics, diving into asteroid shadows, using debris as shields, working in perfect teamwork. Still, the enemy fleet outnumbered them heavily. Marcus's dropship broke through the fire zone and landed near the damaged habitat dome. His team rushed out, shielding civilians and carrying wounded people toward evacuation spots. The feeds showed Marcus lifting heavy beams with mechanical support gear, helping trapped families escape. Anya felt her chest tighten as she watched him. He wasn't just brave. He was focused, calm, and relentless. The quiet man she married had become a force of nature, but the situation grew worse. General Koresh sent ground troops to hunt the rescue teams. Plasma blasts struck the dome floor. Smoke covered the area. Marcus led his squad deeper into the collapsed zone. Searching for children reported missing. A message came in from him. His voice was controlled but urgent. "We've found a group of survivors. We're moving them to safety. Keep the extraction route clear." Anya stepped closer to the speaker. She wanted to speak but stayed silent. She didn't want to distract him. Human commanders worked fast, directing support fighters to cover Marcus's route. The command center shifted into a rhythm: orders, responses, alarms, updates. The room felt alive with desperate hope. Then something unexpected happened. One of the human cruisers in orbit, the Aurora's wing, suffered a direct hit from Koresh's flagship. Its engines failed, and it began drifting toward the moon's surface. If it crashed, thousands would die, including Marcus's team. A hush fell over the command room. Marcus heard the report through his comms. "We need to change positions now," he ordered. He led civilians away from the incoming crash zone. Meanwhile, the Aurora's wing tried to regain control. But the ship kept falling. The pilot's voice came through the speakers. "We're losing altitude. Requesting emergency assistance." No one had a solution. No human ship had the power to stabilize a crashing cruiser. And yet Marcus stepped forward. "Patch me into the Aurora's wing bridge," he said. The commander hesitated. "Captain Hale, you can't stop a falling cruiser." Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't show fear. "Just patch me through." The channel opened. Marcus spoke to the pilot. "Listen carefully. You need to redirect power to your lower thrusters manually. Use the emergency override channel." "That will fry the system," the pilot protested. "It will slow your fall long enough for your crew to reach escape pods," Marcus replied. Anya watched him closely. His voice carried calm certainty, the kind that made people trust him instantly. The pilot obeyed. The cruiser shuddered, flames bursting from its underside. But the ship's fall slowed. Thousands of lives were saved. "Now get your crew out," Marcus said. "Go. I'll guide you through." As Marcus directed the evacuation, Koresh's troops advanced, attacking rescue teams. Marcus finished helping the ship crew escape, then quickly moved to shield a group of wounded civilians. Smoke covered the battlefield, but his movements were clear and sure. Anya felt awe rising inside her. She had always known Velith warriors fought with honor. But humans fought with something different heart. They fought like people who believed every life mattered, and Marcus, he fought like someone carrying the weight of a whole world. After nearly an hour of intense rescue work, Marcus's team finally reached the extraction zone. Just as the last civilian boarded the shuttle, a blast hit the ground near Marcus, knocking him down. Anya's breath caught, but Marcus pushed himself up immediately. He signaled his team to take off first. Only after everyone else was safe did he allow himself to board the final shuttle. When the rescue ship lifted off, Anya exhaled a shaky breath she didn't know she was holding. She realized she had watched the entire mission without blinking. Humans were not weak. Humans were incredible. Later, when all teams were debriefed, Marcus reported calmly, "The colony moon is damaged, but we saved over 900 civilians. We need reinforcements for a second rescue attempt." The command room erupted with relief and respect. Some officers even clapped, but Anya didn't see a hero wearing medals. She saw a man who risked his life again and again because he believed peace was worth protecting. She finally understood what she had married. Not just a symbol, not just a soldier, but a human whose courage shone brighter than plasma fire. As Marcus walked toward her after the mission, she felt something inside her shift. Not fear, not duty, something warmer. He stopped in front of her. "Princess Anya, are you all right?" She nodded slowly. "You fought like a falling star." Marcus blinked, unsure how to respond. But Anya understood something perfectly in that moment. If General Koresh wanted war, he would find out very soon that humans were much more than he believed, and Marcus was proof of that. The colony moon burned like a wounded ember in the distance. Huge sections of its surface were cracked, glowing faintly from heat. Thick smoke drifted upward into space as rescue ships moved in patterns, trying to avoid enemy fire. Earth had sent reinforcements, but even with new soldiers and ships, the situation was growing worse. General Koresh wanted to break the treaty completely. He wanted to show his people that peace with humans was foolish, and he wanted to use the colony moon as proof. Anya stood inside Earth's command center, unable to look away from the holographic displays. She watched the enemy fleet gathering around the moon, forming a blockade. Their ships were massive, sharp, dark, and built for war. Human ships looked smaller beside them, almost fragile. But humans had something those enemy ships did not have. They had Marcus. He was already preparing for the second rescue mission. His armor was scratched and dented from the earlier battle. Yet he moved with steady confidence. His team followed him with absolute trust. Even the senior officers spoke to him with respect now. Anya approached him just before he boarded the shuttle. "You don't have to go again," she whispered. "You already saved so many." Marcus shook his head. "There are still people trapped. Until they are safe, I cannot stop." "You are only one man," she said softly. Marcus gave a small smile. "One man can make a very big difference." His words hit her heart with quiet force. She wanted to tell him to be careful. She wanted to tell him she was afraid. But the words remained trapped in her throat. The shuttle doors closed, and the ship flew into the war zone once more. The second mission was worse than the first. Enemy fighters swarmed around the moon like a cloud of metallic insects. Plasma beams cut through the dark space in every direction. Human pilots fought bravely, but they were outnumbered 3-1. Marcus's shuttle dodged through explosions, diving between falling debris. His voice came through the command center speakers, calm and focused. "Squad 3, take the left passage. Squad 4, flank from the ridge. Keep your shields angled toward the enemy cannons." Even Anya, who barely understood human military tactics, could see how he controlled the battle. He saw things the others didn't: small openings, hidden opportunities, the rhythm of the enemy's fire. His mind worked like a machine. Yet his heart drove every decision. When the shuttle landed inside the broken dome, Marcus and his team leaped out. The air inside was filled with smoke and dust, making it hard to see. Fires burned in long lines across the cracked floor. Heat signatures detected, one of the team members reported. 15 survivors ahead. Marcus nodded. Move fast. Enemy troops are near. The team advanced carefully, weapons ready only for defense. They found the survivors hiding under a collapsed walkway, a group of workers, elderly people, and 3 young children. A small boy clung to Marcus's leg the moment he saw him. "Please don't leave us," the boy cried. Marcus knelt and placed a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder. "I'm not leaving anyone behind," he said. "You're safe now." Even in the middle of battle, his voice held warmth. Anya watched this from the command screen, feeling tears gather in her eyes. She had grown up believing humans were fragile. But nothing about Marcus felt fragile. His strength was different, not muscle, not armor, but something deeper. A strength that came from inside. The rescue team began escorting the survivors toward the shuttle. But suddenly the ground shook violently. A massive explosion tore through the dome ceiling, sending debris raining down. The enemy had targeted the rescue zone. Marcus reacted instantly. "Shields up. Cover the civilians." His team formed a protective circle, but it wasn't enough. The enemy troops landed near the wreckage, ready to attack. "We're pinned down," his second-in-command reported. "We need support." In the command center, officers scrambled to redirect fighters, but heavy fire blocked their path. Marcus made a decision. "I'm moving ahead to draw fire. Get the civilians to the shuttle." His team tried to protest. "Captain, that's too dangerous." Marcus didn't hesitate. "They have children." "Move." He sprinted across the battlefield, weaving through smoke and fire. Enemy troops turned their weapons toward him. Plasma bolts exploded around him. But he kept running. His armor glowed from the heat, shining like a burning comet across the cracked ground. That moment was broadcast across every screen in the command center. That moment became the moment Anya finally understood why humans were feared, respected, and impossible to defeat. He wasn't fighting to win. He was fighting to save. And that made him unstoppable. Marcus reached a fallen tower, crouching behind it for cover. He aimed upward, firing at the main enemy weapon emplacement. His shots were precise, hitting key joints and power cells. Sparks erupted from the enemy cannons, forcing them to redirect fire away from the civilians. Human pilots, watching Marcus's movements, coordinated their attacks. They flew in low, striking the weakened cannons. Within minutes, the enemy's ground fire reduced significantly. "Path clear," Marcus's teammate reported. "Civilians loaded." Marcus exhaled in relief. "Good. Prepare for launch." But the mission wasn't over. General Koresh had been watching everything. He activated his personal command drone and sent it directly toward Marcus's position. It hovered above the ruins, glowing red with energy. A message played across the battlefield, echoing in both Velith and human languages. "So this is the human who stands between me and victory." Anya felt her pulse stop. Koresh continued, voice filled with contempt. "One human cannot change the fate of a galaxy." Marcus didn't answer right away. He stood slowly, dust falling from his armor. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with resolve. "Maybe one human cannot change everything," he replied, voice steady. "But one human can save lives. And that is enough." Koresh's drone fired a powerful blast. The ground exploded around Marcus. He was thrown backward, rolling across the cracked floor. For a moment, Anya screamed his name, but no sound left her mouth. Marcus pushed himself up again. His armor was scorched, and sparks flickered around him. Yet he stood tall. The drone charged its weapon again. Before it fired, Marcus grabbed a metal beam from the wreckage, threw it like a spear, and struck the drone's power core. The drone burst in a white flash, crashing to the ground. The command center erupted in cheers. Koresh's voice vanished from the battlefield. Marcus's shuttle lifted off moments later. He guided his team and civilians back into space. Even though his armor was damaged and he could barely stand, human ships covered the shuttle, pushing away enemy fighters. As the shuttle returned to Earth's main fleet, Anya saw Marcus weakly leaning against the wall, still giving instructions, still making sure everyone else was safe. A wave of pride washed through her, stronger than she had ever felt before. Her marriage had started as a political symbol, but now, she knew the truth. She had married a man whose courage shone brighter than any star. A man who fought not for glory, but for peace. A man who challenged everything the Veleth believed about humans. Marcus Hale had become a legend, not because of power, but because of heart, and the galaxy was beginning to see it. The rescue mission had ended, but the war was not over. The colony moon was saved for now, yet General Koresh's fleet still hovered above it like a dark storm. Earth's soldiers were tired. Ships were damaged. And supplies were running low. Marcus Hale had become a symbol of hope, but even he knew that symbols alone could not change the tide of war. Something decisive had to be done. Koresh needed to be stopped finally and completely. Anya remained in Earth's command center, pacing in front of the large holographic displays. Reports came in every hour, enemy troop movements, power readings from Koresh's flagship, predictions of the next attack. Humans were preparing to defend themselves again. But Anya could see the truth. The next battle would be far worse. Marcus entered the room quietly, still wearing his damaged armor. Burn marks covered the metal plates, and faint cracks lined the visor. He walked slowly, each step showing exhaustion. Yet his eyes remained sharp. "You should be resting," Anya said softly. "There is no time," he answered. "Koresh will strike again before dawn." She stepped closer. "Humans cannot endure another full assault." "You know this," Marcus nodded. "That's why we're not waiting for him to attack." She blinked. "What do you mean?" "We're taking the fight to him." A heavy silence filled the room. Even the officers nearby turned toward Marcus, surprised. He continued. "Koresh's flagship controls the entire fleet. If we disable its command core, the other ships will fall into confusion. They rely on his direct orders. Without him, the blockade will collapse." Anya stared in disbelief. "You cannot mean to board his flagship. That ship is the heart of the Veleth military. It's impossible." "AD." Marcus shook his head. "Not impossible. Just difficult. Too difficult," she insisted. "Even our strongest warriors cannot break into that ship." Marcus looked at her with calm determination. "Warriors fight for victory. I fight for people. That gives me an advantage." She opened her mouth to argue, but stopped. Something inside her shifted. She remembered how he saved children under collapsing metal, how he rushed alone into open fire to draw enemies away, how he stood up again even after Koresh's drone knocked him down. He had already done things no one believed possible. Maybe, just maybe, he could do one more. Minutes later, preparations began. A small infiltration team formed around Marcus, 5 skilled soldiers who had trained for stealth missions. They would fly in a tiny, silent shuttle, designed to slip through enemy scanners for a short time. Anya watched them prepare, her heart beating painfully. She approached Marcus privately. "You don't have to do this alone," she whispered. "I'm not alone," he said, adjusting his armor. "I have my team." "That's not what I meant." Marcus paused. His voice softened. "I know. But if Koresh is not stopped, the war will grow bigger than both our species. Peace will die, and everything we've fought for will vanish." Anya felt her eyes sting. She reached out and touched his arm gently. "Please come back alive." He held her gaze for a long moment, and in his eyes she saw the same warmth she had seen during their first conversation, steady, honest, and full of quiet strength. "I promise," he said. Then he entered the shuttle. The small craft slid through space, flying low across the surface of the enemy ships. Koresh's scanners were strong, but Marcus's team flew in complete silence, navigating carefully through blind areas in the fleet's detection web. Inside the shuttle, Marcus studied the hologram of Koresh's flagship. The ship was massive, like a mountain of metal floating in the dark. Its surface was covered in glowing lines, each representing active weapon systems. "We will enter through the lower maintenance bay," Marcus said. "It has the weakest security. Once inside, We move straight to the command core. His team nodded. When they reached the entry point, Marcus led the way. They cut through the metal panels silently and slipped inside the giant ship. The hallways were dim, filled with vibrating energy. Every step echoed softly. As they moved deeper, soldiers encountered patrol drones and security units. Marcus and his team worked quickly, disabling machines, avoiding cameras, and hiding behind thick machinery whenever footsteps approached. The Velith were powerful fighters, but they did not expect humans to infiltrate their strongest vessel. That surprise gave Marcus's team a chance to advance. Finally, they reached a tall door glowing with red light. "The command core," Marcus whispered. Before they could enter, alarms suddenly flashed. The walls glowed bright blue. A chilling voice echoed through the hallway. "I knew you humans would try something foolish." It was Koresh. He had laid a trap. Armored guards surrounded the team from both sides. Marcus motioned for his soldiers to retreat behind a large pillar. Energy bolts fired from every direction. His team fought bravely but struggled against the heavy attack. Marcus saw them faltering. He made a decision. "Go," he ordered. "Find another route to the core. I'll hold them off." "No," one soldier argued. "We stay together." Marcus's voice grew firm. "This is not a request. This is an order. Lives depend on you reaching that core." The soldiers hesitated. Then, trusting him completely, they broke into two smaller groups and disappeared down side passages. Marcus stepped out alone. The hallway fell silent. Koresh himself appeared at the far end, a tall Velith warrior wearing heavy crimson armor. His presence filled the corridor with menace. "So you are the human who causes so much trouble," Koresh said, walking closer. "Your courage is entertaining, but foolish." Marcus raised his weapon but did not fire. "This war ends today, Koresh." Koresh laughed. "One human thinks he can end an empire's plan? You are nothing." Marcus didn't flinch. "If saving lives makes me nothing, then I accept that, but I won't let you destroy our peace." Koresh lifted his arm and fired a blast of energy. Marcus jumped to the side, the beam barely missing him. The heat sang across his armor. They clashed in the narrow hallway, Koresh with brute strength, Marcus with speed and precision. Sparks flew when energy blades scraped against metal walls. The air vibrated with power. Koresh swung hard, knocking Marcus backward. Marcus slid across the floor but stood up again, refusing to fall. "You humans never know when to give up," Koresh growled. "That's our greatest strength," Marcus answered. He triggered a small explosive charge on the ceiling beam. It fell between him and Koresh, creating a wall of debris. Marcus used the distraction to break past him and sprint toward the command core. Koresh roared and followed. Marcus reached the core room glowing blue, pulsing with power. One strike to its control panel would disrupt all communication between Koresh and his fleet, but Koresh tackled him before he reached the console. They crashed onto the floor. Marcus struggled, pushed close to his physical limits. Then he remembered Anya's words. "You fought like a falling star." He found strength he didn't know he still had. With a final surge, Marcus rolled to the side, grabbed an exposed cable, and slammed it into the control node. Sparks exploded. The entire flagship shook violently. Koresh froze as lights dimmed, and screens went dark. "No," he whispered. "What have you done?" "Ended your control," Marcus said, breathless. Across space, Koresh's fleet broke formation. Without commands, their ships drifted in confusion. Human forces seized the moment and pushed forward, surrounding the weakened fleet. Inside the flagship, Koresh tried to strike Marcus again, but the ship shook violently, throwing him off balance. Marcus used the moment to dash toward the exit. His team rejoined him, guiding him through collapsing corridors as alarms screamed. They escaped through the maintenance bay just before the flagship's core shut down completely. Their shuttle launched into open space and joined the human fleet. Cheers erupted across every comm channel. Marcus had done it. The war was over. Peace was saved. When Marcus returned to Earth's command center, he walked slowly, exhausted. His armor was cracked, his helmet scorched, but his eyes were steady. Anya rushed to him, unable to hide her relief. "You came back," she whispered. "I promised," he said. For the first time, she stepped close and placed her forehead gently against his chest armor. Marcus froze for a moment, then relaxed, understanding the emotion in her gesture. "You married me for peace," he said softly. "But I hope one day you will stay because you want to." Anya looked up at him, her eyes shining. "I already do," she said. And with that simple truth, the galaxy changed. Peace was no longer just a treaty. It was a bond stronger than war, brighter than stars, a bond forged by a human who fought like a fallen star, and a princess who finally understood his heart.